Balaji?
Good evening, doctors. It is a great pleasure and honor for us from Shield to be associated with such a wonderful academic program of KASOGA and KCOG. We are very happy to welcome each one of you for today's international academic program on the topic of preparing adolescents for wellness across life course. So I have great pleasure to introduce Dr. Hema Diwakar, who is the Dean of KCOG, and I welcome Dr. Muralidhar Pai and all the office bearers of KCOG and KASOGA, and I sincerely thank you for giving this opportunity to Shield. So I have great pleasure in introducing Hema Madam, Dr. Hema Diwakar. No need for any introduction. A globally popular figure. And the recent initiatives in terms of single step test, which very strongly is embedded in my mind personally, because across the globe, this is getting recognition and acceptance. So introducing about Dr. Hema Diwakar, she is the CEO and Chairman of Artist, Chair of Well Women Healthcare Committee at FIGO, and Dr. Hema is the Dean KCOG and President of DIPSI. Dr. Hema is the Vice President of AHPI and past President of FOXI 2030 and the past Vice Chair for FIGO PNCD Committee. And Doctor is an advocate for delivering quality healthcare. Convener Manyata, everybody knows now today across the country, Manyata is becoming so popular because it gives a very clear quality standards which is easily followed and monitored by everybody. And Dr. Hema Diwakar is an opinion leader and influencer for social and legal issues relating to women's health. Of course, a lot of awards and recognitions are there for Dr. Hema Diwakar. She is the FIGO Women Achievers Award winner for 2015, Global Asian of the Year 2018 award winner. And Dr. Hema Diwakar is given CME Excellence Award for Artist, Next Brands Award for Artist for Her, and CSR Times Award by CSR Impact Award for Diwakar Service Trust is also given to Dr. Hema Diwakar and the team. So with this introduction, I hand over the session to Dr. Hema Diwakar, and once again thank everybody for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Namaskar, and with a hearty welcome to everybody and immense thanks to Shield Healthcare, who have always stood in strong support for all our academic endeavors. On behalf of Chairman of KCOG, Dr. Muralidhar Pai, who is the Dean of the Sikkim Manipal University Medical College at Sikkim. On behalf of Team Artist, Dr. Diwakar, the Managing Director, the pillars of artists, Dr. Rita, Dr. Purni, and the lead for projects, Mrs. Sheetal Joshi. I extend a very warm welcome to our very distinguished and guest and my very beloved friend, Dr. Gulshan Arapa from Bangladesh. Namaste and welcome. Before we have a formal introduction of our guest, I would request Dr. Murali Pai to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. As you all know that the third Thursday now is the time for KCOG International Program, and week after week, we we have been having different programs. Every month, we are looking forward to this Thursday when Dr. Hema is going to get a wonderful international speaker, because it is very important to understand and know the different perspectives, not only ours, but also in and around us and internationally. So thank you very much for bringing Doctor from Bangladesh, and we are all looking forward to listen to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Muralidhar. He's been one of our very great champions to inspire many from the generation next, and served as a role model and an icon for many, many young practitioners across the country. It's time to formally welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Gulshan Ara from Bangladesh. On behalf of Dr. Muralidhar Pai, the chairman, Dr. M.G. Hiremat, the chief patron, Dr. Basavaraj Sajjan, the immediate past president of Kasoga and the vice chairman, Dr. Vidya Bhatt, the secretary, Dr. Kasturi Donimat, who is the present president, and Dr. Vidya Tobbi, the president-elect, Dr. Bharti Rajshekar, who is the secretary of Kasoga. Kasoga has the academic wing called the KCOG, or the Karnataka College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the first ever in the country to have a state chapter of the college. And very soon after its inception, we have been leaping across with many, many exciting programs, including the International Speaker Series and the Skill Transfer programs, and very innovative inclusions to do our best, not only for the OBGYNs in Karnataka, but also scaling up to the rest of the country. Today, we have an opportunity yet again to hear from one of our very distinguished speakers, Dr. Gulshan Ara from Bangladesh, who will be addressing us on preparing adolescent for wellness across Lifecourse. Just I was speaking to her before the start of the program about how to reach the target of adolescents. That seems to be the greatest challenge, and hopefully we will draw some lessons from the deliberations that the speaker has for us in store for the next 25 minutes or so. And from our end, as team artists, our team has been going to various schools and early in colleges with the health and hygiene program. And it has been a great eye-opener for us as to how much the need is and how much more we need to do. So the formal introduction of Professor Gulshan Ara, who is a chief consultant at the Department of OBGYN at the BRB Hospital at Dhaka. Most importantly, she is my very beloved friend and member and an asset to the Committee of Well Women Healthcare at FIGO, where we say across the lifespan of a girl and a woman, we must institute the necessary care at the right time, at the right ages, in the right proportions to help her sail through the journey of her life in a state of wellness. Gulshan Ara is also the Secretary General of Obstetrical and Gynecological Societies of Bangladesh, Secretary General of Pediatric and Adolescent Gynecology of Bangladesh, Organizing Secretary of the Menopause Society. So you can see that her interest and expertise spans right across lifespan, and every stage there is preparedness for the next stage. She's the editor of Endometriosis Adenomyosis Society of Bangladesh and the office secretary of the PCOS Club. And she has many, many national and international publications to her credit. We present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished speaker for this evening, Dr. Gulshan Ara Appa from Bangladesh. Namaste and welcome again.
Thank you, Dr. Hema Divakar, my good friend and very good friend. And as you are chairperson of the Well Women Committee of FIGO, we have come together and very near together and to work on the adolescent health worldwide. But very recently, we have formed Pediatric and Adolescent Gynecology Society of Bangladesh about 1.5 years, and we are going to organize a first international conference on 23rd February. So we can work with adolescent health very closely. I think very much for you to select this topic, because life course approach, I think, addressed not up to the mark and addressed less, even in the Asiatic country, because we are our policies, our framework is not address this system for the improvement of the women's health. So for the selection of this topic, very much thankful to you, respected chairperson and learned faculties of KCOG and Karnataka College of College. I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizer for organizing this very auspicious academic program, and my sincere thanks to Dr. Hema Divakar, the Dean of this KCOG, and past President Foxy, and the Chairperson of Women Committee of FIGO for inviting me as a speaker. I'm honored and pleased to be here. And now I am going to share my presentation. Probably it is not moving. Okay, not moving.
No, yeah, you can share again, but we could see your slide.
Yeah, again I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
To mention, what does a life course approach mean? A life course approach to health aims to ensure people's well-being at all ages by addressing people's needs, ensuring access to health services, and safeguarding the human right to health throughout their lifetime. And it's a cornerstone of policies framework focused on improving health and health equity. And it's a key pillar of Health 2020 and central to the achievement of the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable. An essential component of this life course approach, when we adopt a life course approach, it means recognizing that all stages of person's life intertwine each other in the society and with past and future generations of their families. And understanding health and well-being depend on risk and protective factors throughout people's life, and taking action early to ensure the best start in life appropriately during life transition and together as a whole. It includes maximizing vaccination coverage, cognitive stimulation, physical activity, minimizing childhood exposure to poverty and health inequalities, poor nutrition, and ensuring equal access to quality education and child care and health, social and child protection services, because early sexual and reproductive health promotion implication is more for the future health. From this picture, we can see most of the women are taking care in these ages. So early intervention is helpful to produce a good future health. Conceptual framework about the public health intervention, intrinsic capacity and functional ability. Intrinsic capacity is the sum of physical and mental health, and functional ability depends upon the intrinsic capacity of a society, of a person, and this intrinsic capacity is not constant throughout the life cycle. It is influenced by some environmental factor. So intrinsic capacity and the functional ability is interrelated condition. If we want to take some intervention, it is better to take early intervention, because to prevent the chronic diseases, it's mother and infant an effective point to intervene. Childhood and adolescent is another effective point to intervene, and early intervention improves the functional capacity and response of new challenges, but late intervention impactful for the vulnerable group. So interventions are affected, adult have limited effect. So it is the plasticity of the life is the early life. So intervention should be taken in early, and it will improve the health of a future health. Throughout the life, there is some protective factor and the risk factor. Protective factor is diet, environment, education, employment, living in good quality housing, network support, and risk factor is smoking, childhood experience, crime, violence, drug and alcohol misuse, poor educational environment, and poor mental health. So in adolescent investment, we can get healthy adolescent now, healthy adult in the future, and healthy future generation. So some global initiative addressing child and adolescent health and improvement, making pregnancy safer, expanded program on immunization, integrated management of childhood illness, global strategy on infant and young child, rollback malaria, school health program, adolescent-friendly health services, and integrated management of adolescent adult illness. Bangladesh, we have national strategy for adolescent 2017 to 2030. The strategic direction is 4, adolescent sexual and reproductive health, and number 2, violence against adolescent, number 3, adolescent nutrition and mental health of adolescent, and cross-cutting issues is social and behavioral changes communication and health system strengthening. And the special issue is vulnerable adolescent and adolescent in challenging circumstances. And it is very similar to the World Health Organization, because their strategy is survive, thrive, and transform. This is the global strategy for women's, children, and adolescent health 2060 and 2030 declared by WHO and UNAID. So in parenting, preparing for adolescent, giving every child to the best start in the life, loving, secure, and reliable relationship with a parent or career, support, emotional well-being, brain development, language development, and ability to learn, and capacity to form and maintain positive relationship to others. So parenting is very important for preparing our adolescent. Adolescent care, WHO overview. Adolescent is the phase of life between 20 to 19 years of age, and it's a unique stage of human development, an important time for laying of a foundation of good health. It experiences rapid physical, cognitive, psychosocial growth, how they feel, think, make decisions, and interact with the world around them. And despite being thought as a healthy stage of life, there is significant death, illness, injury in the adolescent in the years. Much of this is preventable and treatable during this phase, because it's dependent upon the behavior related to the diet, physical activity, substance use, and sexual activity. To grow and develop in good health, adolescents need information, including age-appropriate comprehensive sexual education, opportunities to develop life skills, health services that are acceptable, equitable, appropriate, and effective, and safe and supportive environment. So, nearly 3,000 adolescents die every day. Nearly all these deaths are preventable, and top 5 causes of death is road traffic injuries, pneumonia, suicide, diarrheal disease, and drowning. And 10 child health concern among all the parents. This is variable worldwide. Adolescent death by WHO region 2016, over 1.1 million adolescent death occurs age 10 to 19 years, but these are widely variable and also different in ages. Age 10 to 15 years of age, age 15 to 19 years of age, death is more in 15 to 19 years of age and more in Africa and South Asia also. The mortality and morbidity adolescent is also different in the age group and also in boys and girls. In age, mortality is more from 15 to 19 years of age, but less in 10 to 15 years of age. In female, 10 to 15 years of age is diarrheal disease, road injury, lower respiratory infection, and 15 to 19 years, tuberculosis, maternal condition, and self-harm. And morbidity also in the female from iron deficiency, anemia, anxiety disorder, migraine, but 15 to 19 years, depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, and migraine. Some facts of adolescent and young adults. Over 1.5 million adolescents and young adults aged 10 to 24 years of age died in 2020, nearly 5,000 every day. And young adolescent age 10 to 14 years have the lowest risk of death in all age group. And these are the injuries, violence, self-harm, and the maternal condition leading to the cause of death. Half of all mental health disorders in adulthood start by the age of 14, but most cases are undetected and untreated. Early onset substance use is associated with higher risk of development of dependence and other problems during adult life. The people of younger ages are disproportionately affected by substance use compared with people or older age. And globally, there are 41 births per 1,000 to girl aged 15 to 19 years. It was in 2020. Main health issues in the adolescent for education and prevention to be considered. Injuries, unintentional injuries are leading cause of death and disability among adolescents. Violence, mental health, alcohol and drug use, tobacco use, HIV infection, and AIDS. So protecting adolescent health needs families who protect and nurture, healthcare responsive to adolescent needs, schools that promote healthy development, clean air, adequate water, sanitation and hygiene, a transport system that is safe, and laws to protect the rights of the adolescent. Some key points about the adolescent pregnancy. As 2019, adolescent aged 15 to 90 years in low and middle income countries had estimated that 21 million of pregnancies occur in each year, of which approximately 15% were unintended, and which resulted in an estimated 12 million of birth. And data on childbirth among girls aged 10 to 14 are not widely available, but there is limited data, in Angola, Bangladesh, Mozambique, Nigeria, and to point of birth rate in this age group exceeding 10 births per 1,000 girl as 2030. And based on 2019 data, 55% of unintended pregnancy occurs among the adolescent girl. And adolescent mother have faced higher risk of eclampsia, puerperal endometritis, systemic infection than women aged 20 to 24 years. And babies of the adolescent mother faces higher risk of low birth weight, preterm birth, severe neonatal condition. And preventing pregnancy among adolescents and pregnancy-related mortality and morbidity are foundation to achieve positive health outcome across the life course and imperative for achieving the sustainable development goal related to maternal and newborn health. Conception care. We should establish pre-conception care very rightly and very right time, because life course action must start at preconception and pregnancy stages and be sustained throughout childhood. Preconception care have a power or impact on women's health because it's a continuum care, including preconception care, antenatal care, internatal care, and postnatal care. And preconception care and adolescent has a good impact on the preconception period and can reduce the maternal mortality and infant mortality. Thus, it is necessary to optimize preconception care for adolescents. Adolescent pregnancy, which is the important cause of maternal mortality and morbidity worldwide. Studies risk and protective factors related to adolescent pregnancy in LMIC indicate 10 to higher among those who are less educated and low economic status. And factors contribute to adolescent pregnancy at birth. First, many societies, girls are under pressure to marry and bear children. And child marriages places girls at increased risk of pregnancy because girls who are married very early typically have limited autonomy about the take decision. And second, the girl choose to become pregnant because they have limited education and employment aspects. And often some societies, that is motherhood, within outside marriage or union is valued. So girl forced to marry and to take pregnancy. And another one is contraceptive, which are not easily accessible for the adolescent girl in many places, even when adolescents can purchase this contraceptive. And adolescent mother account roughly 11% of all birth worldwide, but 95% in the developing countries. And in developing countries, 20,000 girls under the age of 18 give birth, and this amounts 7.3 million births per year. And teenage childbearing increased with age because at 15 years of age, the percentage is 5%, but at 19 years of age, the percentage increases 59%. And complication is also increased. Complication in the form of puerperal eclampsia, puerperal endometritis, and systemic infection. So, pregnancy and childbirth complication, what's action we can do now? Stop childbirth marriage, early and forced marriage, provide comprehensive sexual education, information, counseling, and services for the full range of safe, effective, accessible, and affordable contraceptive method. Pre-pregnancy care, pregnancy care, birth and post-pregnancy care, safe abortion care, and post-abortion care is also important to reduce the complication of the adolescent from pregnancy. Contraceptive services are not easily accessible to the adolescent because they face stigma when trying to obtain contraceptive and often higher risk of discontinuing use. Restrictive laws and policies regarding the provision of contraceptive use on age and the marital status is the important barrier. Health workers are also biased or lacking of willingness because their lack of knowledge or less knowledge about the sexual health needs. Child sexual abuse increases with the risk of unintended pregnancies, and WHO reported 2020, 120 million girls aged under 20 years have experienced some form of forced sexual contact. 1 in 8 of the world children have sexually abused before reaching the 18, and 1 in 20 girls aged 15 to 19 years of age experienced forced sex during their lifetime. Unmet need is the another important factor. Unmet need in the Bangladesh in adolescent is 17%, but national is 20%, 12%. And adolescent fertility rate is high, 83%, and adolescent contraceptive prevalence rate is 52%. So unmet need, we must reduce the unmet need of the adolescent from higher level. FIGO timely addressed the unmet need. FIGO addressed that the global unmet adolescent contraceptive need should be addressed properly due to significant stigma and bias around the contraceptive use. So their access should be increased, because unmet need for contraception and its association with unintended pregnancy in the Bangladesh increased the maternal mortality and the morbidity of the adolescents. Barriers should be considered from the use of contraception, because laws and policies should be reviewed. Gender and social norms, misconception and lack of knowledge on the contraception, financial barriers should be addressed, lack of privacy and confidentiality should be addressed, and providers' bias should be addressed properly to reduce the percentage of unmet need of the adolescent from the contraceptive services. And the system approach to adolescent responsive contraceptive services include health information system, service delivery system, access to essential medication, health workplace, financing, and leadership governance. We should address this for a system for adolescent responsive contraceptive services. Screening and immunization. Screening and immunization is the classic example of public health intervention that fit the Lifecourse model. HPV vaccination program for adolescent girls before they become sexually active, if successfully implemented, should reduce the incidence of cervical cancer rates by around 70%. And screening for the cervical dysplasia genital chlamydia infection, it reduces the cancer cervix and the pelvic inflammatory disease respectively. Cervical cancer, some key factor of the cervical cancer, because 90% of the new cases and death occurs in the LMICs. 2 human papilloma virus 16 and 18 are responsible. HPV is mainly transmitted through sexual contact, and more than 90% clearing of the infection occurs eventually. But women living with HIV are 6 times more likely to develop cervical cancer. Vaccination against HPV and screening and treatment of precancerous lesion is cost-effective way to prevent cervical cancer. And cervical cancer can be cured if diagnosed at an early age and treated promptly. So comprehensive cervical cancer control includes primary prevention, secondary prevention, screening and treatment of the precancerous condition, and the tertiary prevention, diagnosis and treatment of invasive cervical cancer, and palliative treatment. Vaccine is safe and effective in preventing infection in HPV infection from high-grade precancerous lesion and invasive cancer. If vaccine work best if administered prior to exposure to HPV infection. Therefore, to prevent cervical cancer, WHO recommend vaccination of the girl from 19 to 14 years when most have not started sexual activity. Some countries have started vaccine boys as the vaccination prevents HPV-related cancer in male as well as. But HPV vaccination, it does not replace cervical cancer screening. In countries where HPV vaccine is introduced, screening program, population-based screening program are needful to identify and treat cervical precancer and cancer to reduce cervical cancer incidence and death. The Lifecourse approach for cervical cancer prevention, HPV vaccination for 15 years of age, then treatment of the precancerous condition and the cancer condition, and also the palliative treatment. And primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary prevention is the vaccination. Girl from 19 to 13 years of age, but girl and boys are appropriate. Health information and working about tobacco use, sexually education tailored to age and culture, condom promotion provision for those engaged in sexual activity, and male circumcision. And their secondary prevention and tertiary prevention is also there. So secondary, primary prevention, human papilloma virus infection is the target of primary prevention from 9 to 14 years who have not become sexually active. And the primary prevention of the cervical cancer largely overlap with primary prevention of STIs, including HIV, because with HIV, it increases the incidence of the cancer cervix 6 times more. But in full course coverage of HPV vaccine, there is wide variation worldwide, because in Southern Asia, Southeastern Asia, there is no vaccination statistics or vaccination data. So we should consider in very meticulously in Asiatic region for HPV vaccination of our adolescent to prevent the cervical cancer. For 3 types of vaccine is there: 9-valent HPV vaccine, quadrivalent HPV vaccine, bivalent HPV vaccine. Cervarix have been licensed by the US Food and Drug Administration. All 3 HPV vaccine protect is in HPV type 16 and 18 that causes most HPV cancer. Time of introduction or administration of the vaccine. Dose 1, 11 to 12 years can start at age 9. Dose 2, 6 to 12 months after the first dose. Children who start the HPV vaccine series on or after their 15th birthday, they need 3 doses given over 6 months. The problem of nutrition. Malnutrition, undernutrition is the problem, and this is the global problem, all region in the worldwide. Coexistence of undernutrition with overweight and obesity or diet-related non-communicable disease within individual, household, and population and across the life courses. Adolescent nutrition, we should think first adolescent nutrition, because FIGO also announced this adolescent nutrition, think first, because nutrition essential to ensure healthy nutrition for adolescent girl and woman of reproductive age or development for her future offspring. On adolescent nutrition, women's nutrition and health can play a role in intergenerational transmission of human health and future health, happiness, longevity, and economic progress. And investment in adolescent preconception time, maternal nutrition will provide a range of cumulative benefit, delivering improved in health across multiple sectors of society. So to achieve this goal, and advocates concentrate action by a range of stakeholders, including donor and international organizers to interact them. FIGO maintained the thinking nutrition first should be a priority in all countries. Anemia is a common nutritional disorder. WHO declared that hemoglobin level of the adolescent should be more than 12 milligram per deciliter, because in adolescent hemoglobin less than 12 milligram per liter is act as anemia. But this might be affected due to increased iron requirement, decreased iron intake, rapid physical growth of the adolescent, menstrual loss, and high iron demand for hemoglobin formation. So adolescent girls are at higher risk of anemia due to period of physical growth, maturation, cognitive transformation, and demands of macro and micronutrients. And adolescent girls remaining in the refugee camp, like adolescent in the Rohingya camp, they are also vulnerable to develop anemia because of their food habit, because of their low iron content of food, and as well as nutrients that will inhibit iron absorption. So target by WHO, global target by 2025, improving maternal, infant, and young child nutrition, reduction by the 50% of the anemia in reproductive age, 30% of low birth weight, increase the rate of exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months up to at least 50%, reduction by 40% of the number of children under 5 years of age who are stunted, no increase in childhood overweight, and reduction in childhood obesity less than 5%. And to recommend the strategy, integrated planning should be there, multi-sectoral approach, strengthening health system for supply of the iron and folic acid, and the community support of the society should be done to achieve the goal of the WHO. And another important one is education of the girl about the nutrition, training of the girl about the nutrition, folic acid tablet supplementation, and deworming of the girl. But with this intervention, we can reduce the incidence of anemia or low iron content and folic acid content in the adolescent. Another one problem of malnutrition is the obesity. 39% of the adults is 18 years and were overweight in 2016 and 13% were obese. Most of the world population live in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than underweight. 39 million children under the age of 5 were overweight or obese in the 2020. Over 340 million children and adolescents aged 5 to 19 were overweight or obese in the 2016. But obesity is preventable. Obesity also causes some problem. Most important problem is polycystic ovarian syndrome, because prenatal hyperandrogenism, pubertal hyperandrogenism develop insulin resistance and causes hyperinsulinemia, and obesity leads to polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a reproductive disorder, metabolic disorder, hormonal disorder, and to some extent genetic disorder also. And obesity also produces type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart diseases, high cholesterol level, gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, fatty liver disease, and the cancer. So, one of the important steps by the FIGO, PONI, NCD is the biggest global challenge today because of malnutrition, undernutrition, and overnutrition, and the micronutrients deficiency. Undernutrition, 3.5 million death occurs worldwide. Overnutrition lead to diabetes and hypertension, and micronutrients deficiency, that is vitamin and minerals, it causes inadequate development, inadequate growth, and complication of the pregnancy and the fetus also. So another step, pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and postpartum obesity address. Because in case of pregnancy, reduce NCD development in women and improve pregnancy outcome. In future, reduces NCD in future generation and produces good health passed on generation to generation, and children grow into adult free of NCD. Because offspring of the obese woman in pregnancy leads to obese baby and diabetic baby, and the baby develop high blood pressure in future. Breastfeeding, breastfeed babies have lower risk of developing type 1 diabetes and become overweight or obese later in life, which is a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And breastfeeding for longer than 2 months lower 50%, and breastfeeding beyond 5 months lower even more, and breastfeeding for 6 months were 48% less likely to develop diabetes. So longer period of breastfeeding are associated with a lower risk of diabetes or even decades later. So we should take a step to increase the exclusive breastfeeding mother in all over the world. So another initiative, gestational diabetes. About the gestational diabetes, care of the gestational diabetes in pregnancy, before pregnancy, after delivery, and in postpartum period and the inter-pregnancy period, there is very good guideline of the FIGO. We can follow that guideline to reduce the complication of the pregnancy and obesity. And pregnancy, obesity, nutrition initiative, another good one, having vision, that is nutrition and weight at the front line of pregnancy. Action should be taken and in nutrition and weight first at every contract, and then we can achieve guideline, protective resources, practice resources, advocacy, and the training. And the gift of a life free from non-communicable disease can be achieved by following the FIGO guideline of the pregnancy, obesity, and nutrition, which is very good guideline for the OBGYN practitioner. Most probably, I have finished in 25 minutes, Ima.
Yes.
Yeta, thank
And
you
you've
very
taken us
much.
through the life course, really.
Thank you very much for patient sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Gulchanara, can you just stop sharing so that we can see you?
I am stop sharing.
Yes. Thank you so very much for this very insightful, right across the life course, the whole overview and the spectrum of a lot of things that can be done. So there are a few questions from hundreds of audience, listening to you very intently. But first, we will let Dr. Rita ask her question.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. That was a very nice and well elaborated talk. We got a lot of information from that. I just wanted to ask you one question. Nowadays, we see a lot of young girls coming in with their periods, early menarche at 9, 10 and all. So it's like almost a child whose body is, her mind is still like a child, but the body is changing now. So it leads to a lot of anxiety and confusion. What is your advice or take on that situation which we see nowadays?
Okay, thank you very much. Because it's a very, very practical problem. We are facing day by day more these cases because they are physically obese, mentally less than exact age, because nutrition affect all these aspects. Nutrition causes, malnutrition causes this obesity, and the micronutrient deficiency causes this low IQ of the person. So school health program for encouraging their problem, and school health program about the diet, because diet, taking fast food, taking food devoid of micronutrients, it should be addressed properly by the school health problem. And school health clinic is also available in the Bangladesh, because they take the adolescent girl in the school and give some treatment. And the micronutrient supplement during pregnancy, we have some program in Bangladesh because of awareness creation, and give some food or some fortified materials which supplied with vitamin and the minerals. I think this will be helpful for the pregnant mother to achieve the micronutrients from there, and increase antenatal checkup, because number 4, antenatal checkup, taking antenatal checkup in Bangladesh is only 47%. So they are out of our reach to give the supplementation in pregnancy, but which is very, very helpful. Iron, folic acid, because we know the malnutrition, undernutrition, and deficiency of the micronutrients all leads to obesity and the IQ problem, low IQ of the offspring.
Yeah, but Gulshanara, thank you. Have you also noticed that in the Asian ethnic community and the South Asian region, are the girls maturing earlier than ever in the past? Like by 8.5, 9 years, they have their menarche. Has that been your experience also? That was more like the question.
Yes. This is the fact. Increasing, they are maturing earlier. I think this maturation earlier due to exposure of so many information and so many devices and so many places and so many cultural program also, because there is internet, there is mobile. They learn more from 5 to 6 years of age. 5 years of baby, they want the mobile and they play the game in the mobile. So their maturation is more in this world due to more exposure of the devices, which matured them earlier.
Yeah, there is something happening around them, which is triggering off the early issues in their own life course, setting the milestones at a much earlier age. That is indeed a fact. Purni,
also menstruating earlier. Earlier than.
Okay. Dr. Purni?
Thank you so much for putting everything, such a vast topic about adolescent health into such a nutshell. My question to you, ma'am, is in this day and age where we have this whole spectrum of some adolescents being undernutrition, anemia, and on the other hand, we have obesity with lack of exercise. Where does physical activity and exercise play a role here, and how do we counsel them at this age about the importance of physical activity?
Yeah, physical exercise is very important. Physical exercise more in the school, because in our time in tiffin period we used to run, we used to skipping, we used to some kut khala, but nowadays there is no field for practicing this one. Girls and boys are eating or taking their fast food at in the school. So at first the school campus, school capacity, and it is the responsibility of the teacher to give them facilities for exercise or playground, because there is no playground, there is no time to play, because playground activities is more important than exercise. Play causes the physical exercise and mental well-being, but not like exercise also. So school is responsible for this. School should arrange for this playground, but the government has also responsibility for this, because law should be there and they should bound the school facilities to arrange the playground, and also training of the teacher about the mental health, about the physical exercise. We had physical instructor, and there is a post for physical instructor, who allow us to left, right. But there is no physical instructor post for left, right of our adolescents. So there is responsibility of the school administrator, society also, and government also, for give the facilities of our adolescent for playground and for exercise.
Thank you, Dr. Gulchan. I think Dr. Sri Lakshmi is in and out. I think she's lost a connection again. Dr. Muralidhar Pai, your closing comments on the topic, if you're around.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gulshan Ara. Yes, it is said that, in Kannada, there is a proverb, Belava Siri Molakeli Nodu. That means the shoot will tell you how the plant and tree will be. So if we sow the seeds of good health practices in adolescent, then there will be good health throughout their life. Whatever you take, whether it is calcium deposit, the maximum that you can achieve is within the age of 25. Thereafter only it is a decline. Similarly, all the dyslipidemia related problems, the problems related to obesity, they have their seeds sown in the adolescent. So you cannot suddenly change your lifestyle midlife and later on when it is too late. So another proverb I am reminded is Gidavagi Baggaddu Maravagi Bagite. That means if you cannot bend the plant, you cannot bend the tree. So you have wonderfully summarized how the adolescent practices, best practices, how it should be, nurtured so that they will have a good, healthy life. And it is just a reflection of adolescent health and different modalities that you have told. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Hema, for bringing this rare topic, because it is not rare as such. We always are lost in topics which are of interest, like infertility and other things, and surgical oncology, surgeries. But this is very important to develop a good habit of promotion of health. Thank you very much.
And also, there is a lot that has been now spoken around the adolescent healthcare, but very little by way of implementation. Somehow we must get them to act on what we are saying. You know,
Yes.
that, so there are very few role models as such, you know, for whom they can
True.
get inspired with and follow
And
them,
the approach
etc.
also has to be different. We cannot say, don't do this, don't do that. We have
Yes.
to attract them like these fast food are attracting them. We should attract them towards the other side with the equal and opposite reaction. How the fast food is attracting them, we should attract them towards other things with the innovative methods.
Absolutely.
But we cannot force them to comply.
I'm glad that Sri Lakshmi has joined one last time. Sri Lakshmi, are you there? I think she went off air about 3 times and then finally she's trying to join back again. So she's one of our important office bearers, Dr. Vilchanara, but I don't think she can, hear us and get connected.
In Bangladesh.
Yeah. And Dr. Diwakar, if you're there, he is always eager to offer his vote of thanks. So if he's around, he can do the needful. Thank you so much yet again on behalf of all of us. Diwakar?
Thank you on behalf of Team Artist and Dr. Hema Diwakar, Rita Singh, and Pune Narayan and myself. Thank Dr. Gulshan for the excellent lecture. And it was quite interesting, and I also listened to full lecture actually. So it is quite good to know. So thank you, the KCOG Office Bearers, Dr. Muralidhar Pai and Dr. Sri Lakshmi for joining this program. Thank you, Shield, for providing us with a platform of this kind. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Yeah, so we should get together and be more action-oriented. We will spin our heads around what best can be done to attract the youth of the countries in the CEPOG regions. And thank you once more for this insightful deliberation.
Okay, thank you. Greetings, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greetings,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.